Join me in welcoming Dr. Anthony Sparks.
Wow, I told myself I would try to get through today without crying, but I have failed. Part of that is I did walk across this stage literally 30 years ago this week as a BFA in acting graduate. And so if you told me then that I would have the privilege of addressing you today while my twin 16-year-old sons and daughter, who's there in the audience, and my daughter watches on Zoom or whatever we're watching on live stream, I would have said, that sounds about right, yep. No, but I'm very, very thankful. Good morning and congratulations to the mighty class of 2024. Before I dive in, I need to let you know that I discovered performing in theater through the Black church. And the first thing you must do in the Black church when someone invites you to share their stage and speak at their pulpit is you must thank everyone you've ever met in your entire life, which I'm happy to do. So thank you, Dean Emily Roxworthy, to Vice Dean Lori Ray Fisher, to my wife, Associate Dean Anita DeShiel Sparks, to my longtime supporter, Dr. Valina Hasu Houston, and thank you to the entire faculty, and especially to the graduates, to the parents and grandparents, and special friends who have gathered here in this moment. Another thing we do in the Black church is we talk to each other a lot. We turn to our neighbors. So I'd love for us to actually loosen up a little bit and turn to your neighbor and repeat after me. Say, neighbor, today is a good day. And together, we will be all right. All right, give yourselves a round of applause. It's graduation day, and as a thrice-degreed USC triple Trojan, whose fondest memory and first USC diploma was, as I said, a BFA in acting degree from this esteemed School of Dramatic Arts, I can't tell you how excited and honored I am to be here. My publicist, however, was like, "Are you sure you want to be at USC right now?" To which I replied, this place means a lot to me, and also that I was a poor, artsy-fartsy Black kid from a single-family household on the south side of Chicago who went to college and majored in acting, so I have always lived on the edge. So let's go. So graduates, I have good news and bad news. This is a speech where I'm supposed to give you the keys of life, or at least the keys to launching a career. I'll do my best with that in a moment by sharing some of the ups and downs of my journey thus far, what I call my 7 takeaways. But before I do, I think I should acknowledge that it's clear from life around here for the last few weeks that nobody knows nothing. And that some of the adults in your lives are clearly making some of this ish up as they go along and just hoping it all works out. So graduates, lower the bar for yourselves. That's takeaway number 1. And let me be among the first today to say to this incredible class of 2024, who many of you began your journey in the tumultuous year of 2020 and 2021, let me be among the first to say that I'm sorry that so much of the world around you has already let you down. That's the bad news. The good news, and I choose to believe that there's usually some good news waiting to be found or created, is that since we've largely made a complete mess of things, there's nowhere to go but up. And we will be looking to you to lead us to a braver, fairer, kinder, more truthful, equitable, and beautiful world that values and celebrates and embraces everyone of every creed, color, ethnicity, class, gender expression, faith, and ability. We have no choice but to look to you to use your art and creativity, not just to get a job. You'll figure that out like so many before you have, but we will also look to you to help lead us away from the world as it was or is and towards the world that we want. I won't lie to you, that's not going to be easy. Because not everyone believes we can have a world for all of us. They don't believe it because they haven't experienced it. They don't believe it because they haven't seen it. But I come from an incredible people who believed in and worked for things, notions, and ideas that they never saw or experienced either. So again, that's where you come in. This is the time where actors and writers and storytellers of all kinds do their real work, which is manifesting the impossible and the invisible until it becomes tangible. Your imagination and ability to articulate it in the roles you'll play, the plays and scripts you'll write, the theatrical worlds you'll design and build, this imagination and your ability to wield it is your superpower, both on stage and off. That's takeaway number 2. Your imagination is your superpower on a stage and off. And you're going to need it because what you're going to find out there in show business and out isn't so much a world of people with different politics and points of views. What you'll really find, I believe, is a failure of imagination. Former USC professor Robin D.T. Kelly writes in his book, Freedom Dreams, that, quote, without new visions, we don't know what to build, only what to knock down, end quote. So the good news is that you're about to become USC Trojan alums. You are multi-hyphenate creatives. You are newly degreed artists and thinkers whose field of work is the imagination, but imagination is a contested space. The good news is your generation already knows that. That puts you ahead of the game. Because honestly, I did not know that fully when I graduated many years ago. In fact, one of the reasons I went into theater was because I wanted to play make-believe for the rest of my life. I thought that if the son of a Mississippi sharecropper and factory worker can pretend to be someone else and get paid for it, I win. My plan was to become really good in acting in classical theater, Shakespeare, Molière, whatnot, because those are the classics. Right? They are universal. Therefore, I thought I can be cast as everything. And my plan worked for a short while. I got my Actors Equity card acting alongside Viola Davis and Billy Porter in a gender-reversed version of King Lear at the Public Theater in New York. I tread the boards for Broadway director Jack O'Brien with the late, great Hal Holbrook at the Old Globe Theater. I danced half naked in the Buckeye. And partied with Gwyneth Paltrow at Williamstown Theater Festival. But it wasn't long before I started being told no. No, the classics are actually not for you. And since I don't believe you could rob me in the streets, no, you're actually not black enough to play black roles either. No, you couldn't possibly be from Chicago. Something's wrong with you. You're not my idea of what I think you should be or could be. I thought, like an actor does, that, well, it's all about me. I'm not doing something right. But then I noticed the same thing was happening with my friends. And I noticed the same thing was happening to my young bride, Anita, who was told right before showtime by a castmate in a Broadway play in which she'd been cast that she didn't belong. According to this actor who told her this, there are no black British people with Cockney accents, which is A, a silly position to take. And B, even if you could prove her casting wasn't historically accurate, we're doing a play. We all know this ain't real. Relax. My point is that, to our great dismay, we began to be told over and over again that theater and creativity was not an expansion of the possibilities of the world in which we lived, but instead a reinforcer of the world as we found it. That is not what I signed up for, and I know it isn't what you signed up for either. So what do you do when your profession and the world says there's no room for you? If you're me, you diversify, you evolve. So with the support of some professors on this stage, actually, I went back to school to earn my PhD, and I began writing as a way to keep working, but also as an intervention. Hopefully you're starting to see my theme here. Takeaway number 3, you don't just wait on the phone to ring. You create work to increase your work possibilities, and a beautiful, powerful byproduct of doing that is that you may be able to help push the world in a better direction. So by night, I performed in Stomp until I blew out my knees twice. And by day, I auditioned and wrote plays. My wife came on board to produce my work, and after enduring a few doors literally being slammed shut in my face, we managed to get enough support to put my work up off Broadway. I perform my shows with 5, 6, 7 people in the theater, but takeaway number 4, you never know who's watching you. And maybe, just maybe, rooting for you. So just do your work. Those felt like lean days to me, but there was a scout from NBC in the audience one night who was all like, hey kid, I think you might have something here. I work in TV. You ever thought of writing for the idiot box? And I was all like, yeah, I always wanted to be an idiot. It's my dream. Do it pay well? Fast forward a few more years of rejection and prayers, and I was eventually able to launch a writing and producing career. Then, 10 years into this part of my career, I found myself sitting in a writer's room on a hit TV drama where a very toxic senior producer proceeded to embarrass me openly and publicly on a daily basis. She would even call my work and me stupid in front of the entire staff. No lie. Eventually, I left that show. I had to, but in so doing, I also left behind the most lucrative contract I'd ever had. Imagine going home to your wife, who had greatly complicated her own acting career by giving you 3 babies in 3.5 years flat, and saying, hey, honey, looks like your mom was right about marrying me. We're broke. But I still remember when I called my beloved mother, may she rest in peace, to tell her that things weren't going to work out. And she said, well, Anthony, you had to speak up on this one. Besides, all money ain't good money. And if you're keeping count, that's takeaway number 5. All money ain't good money, and call your mother for support. Now, I'm betting some of you know what it feels like to be belittled, dismissed, and called stupid. Perhaps the only thing that feels worse than being called stupid in your workplace is being called stupid and having to give up a lot of money when you have 3 children to feed. So what do you do when, not if, but when, you find yourself with your back up against the wall? You mourn the hit you took for a brief time. You lean on your village, which incidentally are the people sitting next to you. Please support each other. But you allow your village to lift you up, and then you remember your superpower. You remember you've been blessed with the gift of creativity and an elite education. You remember that you have an abundant imagination and that you can literally create something out of nothing. So after taking that hit, I started to teach more, which made me a better artist. I got back to work. I sold my first TV drama pilot, and I eventually went to work for Oprah Winfrey and became the longtime head writer, producer, and showrunner for her network's flagship show, which helped elevate my career to a new level, and I won some awards and stuff like that. But then something very funny happened. I was hiring a writing staff as a showrunner when a resume came across my desk from the writer who loved to call me stupid. Now, you might think this is the part of the story where I tell you that I was the bigger person. And that I hired this writer that embarrassed me. And if you think that, then you don't know me very well. Hell no, I didn't hire her. My mother and Black Jesus did not raise a fool, which leads me to takeaway number 6, which was first told to me by my dear brother, the actor-producer Ren T. Brown. He said, Anthony, the road to success is crowded with assholes who are on their way back. No one is so brilliant that they have a license to be unkind. No one. You can be an impactful, powerful, strong artist and be a kind human being. Anyone who tells you otherwise is an insecure liar from the pit of hell. The point I'm making is that there will always be those with very little imagination, on stage and off, who seek to contain your art and constrain your life. But knowing that is half the battle, which leads me to my final takeaway for today. Takeaway number 7 is that you are Trojans. You are also artists. You are Trojan artists of the School of Dramatic Arts, which means that you are more than well equipped to fight on with style and imagination. Sometimes you'll march directly into the fray with your voices raised. Sometimes you'll slip into the fight inside a Trojan horse called arts and entertainment. But you are fighting nonetheless to pierce the hearts and then the minds of your neighbors. So as a matter of fact, if you could turn to your neighbor one more time and repeat after me, say, neighbor, today is a great day. And together, we will be more than all right. Keep up the good fight, Trojans, for your career, for the life you want, and a world that represents the best of us. Congratulations.